that I don't need to be to stick over the years just with documenting something. That it is a ground that's available for making visual music out of, just as the twined tones of the blood moving through the ears, the heartbeat, and so on, are grounds for making a music that doesn't have to be directly tied, but always in some sense will be tied to our inner physiological being, our sense of ourselves and self. In this pursuit, one of the primary things that you learn, first of all, you learn incredible patience. But you learn also that you have to, or I have to anyway, subsume, keep in touch with autobiography, or else veer over into design. So they're always autobiographical to some extent in that sense. And yet, on the other hand, I don't want them become slavish records or to devise some system to make slavish records of what is a wonder of new human thinking. Inspiration is what I'm after for everybody who's interested. As my eyes sweep around this room, that exit sign is having a inner, against the grid, the original cellular construction that receives that light and has, since I was in the room, there is a reply to that color and those sharp-edged shapes, and to the whole geometry of this room, which is not in meat. This room is not as if it was designed by meat creatures. It is more as if it were fashioned of a aberrant madness, separate from the meat that we are, so that it impinges upon me and others constantly in that wise. And very few structures that have been made or things on the street or within the society are geared to the literal cellular moist meat that we are, which is not fashionable these days. What's fashionable, people love like computers and things like that because they don't sweat, they don't dribble, there's no mucus, there's no disgusting effusia coming from them. They're dry as hell. They just either do it or don't. They unfortunately get viruses and otherwise break down and give people problems, but they're not some messy, sweaty, slimy, semeny, egg-laying, self-reproducing, disgusting thing that people have come to think of humans, alas, as too much being. And my grounds are to try to restore that love of however difficult it is and slimy, that love of that being with meat, that with your own meat at least, hopefully someone else's as well, and others, and have some little meats and so on, go on. That's my excitement. So, but there's taking this meat and it comes to thought, and blood drama is where I really had the sense of what I'm into here with this series. It is so horrible to me that people could go on for week after week after week discussing blood in such a way that had nothing to do with its spilling out, with its blue spirit as it's in the veins, with the slash of that and the emergence of it and so on. So I've tried to give these over to the mind in some degree to be sure of hysteria in these matters, and make a series of meditations which are somewhat different, as you'll see from the other form of making you've seen. You understand that the light smacks on things, it hits the eyes, and the eyes have a grid back, a grid as I've called it, or a complexity of cellular receptors that are very similar in each other and have been developing since womb, that cast back, in some sense, shapes that we then can give names to and give them names and say like face, wall, so on, and that's always going on and constantly happening. As you get older, certain things get bone deep. You don't know anything. If you've got any wits at all about you, you don't really know anything. But the bones reverberate with something of a life's experience. There's a reverberation. That doesn't mean it's true, but it does mean it's you. You know, so there's a kind of truth-telling. And to me anyway, the best definition of the arts is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. And so help you God is like whatever you or anyone else means by God. It is really the unknown that one has to give oneself over to. The unknown. In order for this thing to happen. And it's scary, always scary.